Good morning, happy Friday. Let's get started. So, same as always, if you see a colored box, it means you have to do an activity in that colored box. I'm going to keep myself up here today, actually. I think that keeps me out of the way. All right, so you are going to be writing a Catalyst for Change essay. Okay, I forgot to fill in this part, but I'll fill it in with you right now. You're going to write a personal essay about a moment or a person that changed you in one way or another. So begin by brainstorming moments or people that have changed your life and how. So I'm going to do the first one for you. So you only have to come up with two in your brainstorm. And then you're going to pick one of the two that you chose. So my moment or person is the day I got my first F. So how did it change you? I always had straight A's without trying very hard. I rely on my memory, or I don't do it still, but I relied on my memory. And I would study 5 minutes before a test and usually get a good grade on it just because I had crammed and studied 5 minutes before. So that always worked for me. It was always something that like, okay, cool, I got the grade. Everything that I remember or that I studied went out of my head the second I handed in my test, but I still got the grade. So that's essentially all I cared about. So I always had straight A's without trying very hard. But when I got this F, it made me realize I need to try. Okay, so essentially that was what happened to me. So I had always gotten these A's without trying, and then I got that F, and I was like, wow, I really am not, I really do need to try to actually like continue to keep up my grades. Things get harder, I need to try more, okay? So you're going to think of two more examples and you're going to type them in here, okay? I'm going to put example here so it doesn't confuse anyone. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make it easier for you. One's going to be a moment and one's going to be a person because I don't want you guys to just come up with like moments or just come up with people. I want you to try both out and then see which one you like better. So then after you brainstorm, you're going to pick one of the two that you like better, and you are going to write a draft of an essay. So you're going to begin drafting your essay by stating what happened before the moment of change took place. So for example, before I got my first F, I was always a straight A student. Oh my gosh, my battery's going to die. Imagine if my battery died during the middle of this, I'd be so annoyed. All right. So I was always a straight A student, so I never really received Fs. I was always getting A's. So it wasn't something that I was used to. And it also wasn't something that I expected because if you always get A's, you always expect that you're never not going to get an A. So that would be my before the change. You're going to type your before the change right here. Okay? Next, continue by writing about what happened during the moment of change. So when I saw an F on that paper, I was devastated and I had never gotten one before and I began thinking of what I could do to make sure that it didn't affect my grade. So the second I saw that F, it was like on a small quiz too. So like it wouldn't really affect my grade that much, but to me, if it affected my grade enough to make it not an A, then I would have a freak out. So it was a 25 out of 100 on a quiz. And I got it back and I was devastated and I was just thinking so much about what I could do to fix it. So that's what happened right after or right during that moment where I got that F. I was like, what can I do? Like, how can I fix this? So you're going to do the same thing. What happened when that moment actually took place? Okay, that's going to be your body paragraph, essentially. Again, we're drafting. So these are just like kind of, again, brainstorms, but I would like for it to be more than one sentence. All right, so conclude by stating what happened after the change and how it affects you today. So example, I wrote about 3 essays without asking my teacher and handed them to him to make up for my grade. So I wrote like these big long essays. I went to a Catholic school, so it was a religion class. And I just wrote a bunch of essays and to make up for that grade, I handed in the essays. And after that experience, I still think about that moment and how overconfident I was in myself to achieve without putting in the effort. I'm like, you idiot. Like you thought that you were so smart that you didn't have to put in the work and this is what happened, and guess what? Now you have to do 4 times the amount of work. If I had studied for an hour instead of not studying at all to get the F, I wouldn't have had to waste hours, not waste, but like spend hours of my life writing essays. So after that experience, I still think about that moment and how overconfident I was myself to achieve without putting in the effort. So because of that, when I see my students doing the same, it upsets me because I've learned that you can't survive on that forever. So if I see a student who is able to get the work done and do it well without really trying very hard, then I'm like, okay, so at one point you're gonna get stuck in this habit of like, I don't have to try that hard, so like whatever, it's fine. I don't have to study. I don't have to do this, and you're gonna get stuck in that moment. And then one day you're gonna be hit with something. It might not be as something as small as like a small quiz grade that I got, but it's going to be something that's going to really affect you the way that this affected me. So you're going to do the same thing in this box here. You are going to tell me what happened after that moment of change. So you told us what happened before the moment of change. You told us what happened during the moment of change. And now you're going to tell us what happened after, meaning directly after and after now, how you feel when you think back on it. All right. So that's it for today. Attendance, please. Live questions, please. Yeah, that's it. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday.